Download the free WHKY streaming app from the Apple Store, Google Play, or visit WHKY.com and click on the logo for your device.
First Talk Show with Hal Rowe.
Download the free WHKY streaming app from the Apple Store, Google Play, or visit WHKY.com and click on the logo for your device.
First Talk with Hal Rowe. WHKY Talk Radio.
Good morning. Welcome back to First Talk with Hal Rowe on 1290 WHKY Talk Radio for the Greater Hickory Metro. We're going to talk this morning with members of Tractor Shed Theater from St. Stephen's. And this isn't nice. This is a pleasant surprise for me this morning because normally I think of theater as you go in, you do the blocking, you learn the lines. And this is quite different. This is a wonderful opportunity for these young people to be able to express themselves in a variety of different ways with a very serious subject and a very serious topic. They're doing a fundraiser for Guardian Ad Litem. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about the performance this morning with Molly Rice, Director, Tractor Shed Theater, St. Stephen's High School. Good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning, Hal. Great to see you again.
Now, help me with Susie wanted to know where the name Tractor Shed Theater came from. Do we have an answer for that?
We actually do.
Okay.
Our space, we have a little venue. So
Right.
it's about 40. We've transformed it into a theater, but it actually was the shed.
The tractor shed.
Or the tractor.
There you go.
Yep.
So isn't that, believe me, I was a theater major, in high school theater. Yeah, let them be, just put them in the
put 'em
tractor
in the shed.
There you
Yeah,
go. They'll do fine. They're
Yeah,
creative
it'll be
people.
good.
There you go. Put a little heater in there. Everything will be fine. But I'm sure it's a little bit better off than that.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about now how you became involved with Tractor Shed Theater at St. Stephen's and a little bit about the theater troupe or group.
Okay. Well, I came to St. Stephen's High School. Deanna Taylor hired me almost 10 years ago.
Wow,
and
okay.
I took the place of Cindy Lundy, who was heading out.
Right.
And I had just came in from Ireland, and I'd been living in Northern Ireland doing piecework and arts with my husband, Adrian Rice,
Right.
whom you've had on the show lots of times before.
Sure.
And 10 years there, we decided to actually start performing in that small, intimate space to give the high school student a more intimate audience than a proscenium stage.
Right.
And each show, we actually changed the whole space to match the show. So when we did 1984 by George Orwell, we actually created the memory hole for for where the house is.
Wow.
So the student gets a lot of opportunity to design the entire space. And I love the Tractor Shed. It's a really unique place. So.
And how many performances is this? An annual event? Do you do a spring, a fall?
Yeah.
Tell me about how much exposure maybe a student may get as far as theater goes with St. Stephen's and Tractor Shed Theater.
I try to give them a wide variety, not just in theater, but what I consider creative arts.
Okay.
In the fall, the play production students who are performing at the show for GAL, or Guardian Ad Litem,
Right.
will audition in the fall, and they understand that it's a charity show that they'll be doing, that they'll
Right.
be writing,
Right.
and it's an original piece. So in the fall, they audition, especially if they want to be caring in the community. In the spring, we have a proper production.
Okay.
And last year, we adapted our version of Alice in Wonderland.
Right.
It's called Alice Underground, and we did it in steampunk. So they get an opportunity to do all aspects of theater. Matter of fact, I have a student now at the School of the Arts in the design and production who is into set design, and I had a student just this semester be accepted into the School of the Arts undergrad program for makeup and wig. So if I find out a student really liked likes a certain art, I try to hone in and give them a lot of opportunity. Like Ashton, who loves photography and magic, I make sure, because he's a magician, I make sure that he gets that opportunity to do whatever art he loves.
And of course, Ashton, when someone finds out that you like magic, they're always going to have to ask, show me a trick. Do people always do that?
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that
He's
to you
going
this
to remove
morning.
his nose right now.
No, I'm not going to ask him to do any of this until we go to a break. And then I'm not going to do it to you on the radio, but we got to go to a break. I'm going to have to do that. Let's talk a little bit about, because writing and producing and bringing this whole thing together. Now, this will not be performed at the Tractor Shed Theater. This is going to be performed at the Hickory Museum of Art. It's coming up December 18th, and that's going to be a Thursday evening.
Absolutely.
Is that correct? Thursday evening. It is a fundraiser. It is a ticket event, only $10.
That's right.
But let's kind of start by finding out a little bit more about this. Let's talk with Ashton Burgess this morning. We'll move this mic over just a little bit. Good morning, Mr. Burgess. Nice to see you.
Good morning.
Now, what year are you at St. Stephen? I'm going to have to move this up for you here a little bit. What year are you at St. Stephen's?
I'm a senior.
Senior. Very good. Is this something that you're thinking about that you may want to explore as far as a career, photography, or maybe going into magic performance, or just something that you're...
Yeah, I've thought about following it into later in life, but
And maybe continuing on with your education in that area, maybe?
yeah.
Who knows, right?
Yeah.
Because you're a senior. You're having fun. There you go. You're supposed to be having fun this year, right? Well, tell me a little bit about, this is a serious subject that you're going to be dealing with. So tell me a little bit about that. It's Guardian Ad Litem for people who may not be familiar with that. And I hope I've got this right. And if I don't, y'all let me know. But it is the group of adults that represent youngsters who may have been physically or sexually abused in the system, and they go in and they represent these youngsters where maybe mom or dad have been accused, and maybe they're living under foster care or they're living in another situation. The Guardian Ad Litem folks will go in and help them in the courtroom setting, in the courtroom situation, and be able to be that type of advocate for them, where they're not maybe living in the same home. As a matter of fact, I don't think they do. They live in the same home. But the foster care, and they're able to go in and help navigate, negotiate the legal system to help these folks out who cannot represent themselves. Do I have that about right?
Absolutely.
Okay, very good. Well, tell me a little bit about how you decided that you would want to represent this very serious subject in the upcoming. And this is, we want to let people know before we go on. This is an interpretive art performance piece. This is going to be something different. We're not going to go in and see the lines read from a play, and we're not going to go in and see the blocking and, Ashton moves here and Olivia's over here and Ashley's over here. What we're going to see is something a little bit different.
Yeah.
So tell me about your piece in this.
I came about figuring out what I wanted to do because when we read those stories, and some of them, all of them were horrible.
Right.
Like it made your heart just hurt.
Yep.
And I didn't think that I couldn't get up there and I couldn't speak what needed to be said. I couldn't get across what people needed to hear.
Right.
And so originally I was going to just become one of the guides to go lead people around, but I still wanted to make a difference and try to show people.
Right.
And so I figured out that photography was the only way I could distance myself while still being in it.
Right.
And
that's very important. You get too close to it, and it becomes too hurtful, or too difficult, too challenging. So to be able to maintain that distance, how interesting that you chose photography, because you're able to observe it, but yet you do have some distance there. How very interesting. When we come back, we'll talk with Ashley Barnett, we'll talk with Olivia Wilson, and more with Ashton Burgess. We're talking about interpretive art piece, performance piece from Tractor Shed Theater at St. Stephen's High School.
Stay tuned. The Rush Limbaugh Morning Update is straight ahead.
WKHY Talk Radio.
Good morning. I'm Ralph Mangum for 1290 WHKY. At 4:27 yesterday morning, Hickory firefighters responded to a fire at 940 27th Street Northeast, Unit 110. On arrival, firefighters reported smoke coming from the residence. The occupants were safely outside the structure. The occupants said a working smoke alarm alerted them to the incident. Responding with 2 engines, 1 ladder, 1 rescue unit, and 1 command unit, firefighters worked to contain and extinguish the fire, which was reported under control at 4:40 a.m. No injuries were reported, but said damages were considered heavy. Catawba County EMS and Hickory Police also responded to the incident. Investigators say the fire was caused by an unattended smoldering cigarette. 30-year-old Valerie Rose Wertheim of Mooresville has been arrested by Iredell County Sheriff's officers and charged with child abuse, resisting officers, and injury to real property. On December 7th, deputies responded to reports of children being assaulted by their mother on Carolina Wren Drive in Mooresville. The owner of the residence said a female who was renting a room from her had assaulted a 13-year-old child and an 8-year-old child. Deputies learned that the 13-year-old female had been thrown on the bed and struck on her head by her mother, Valerie Rose Wertheim. When the 8-year-old son tried to stop the mother, he was also struck on the side of his head. Deputies noticed signs of assault on both children. They spoke to Wertheim, who admitted to assaulting her children. As deputies placed Wertheim under arrest, she resisted and kicked a hole in the sheetrock wall. Wertheim was transported to the Iredell County Detention Center with bond set at $4,000 secured. She will appear in district court on January 5th. On the Level Home Services is hosting and sponsoring a Christmas event for needy children in Catawba County. The event will be held on December 20th at 902B Conover Boulevard from noon until 3 p.m. Donations will be accepted through December 18th. On the Level Home Services is a family-owned and operated company that specializes in mold removal, waterproofing, structural repair, and general home repairs. For more information, call 828-750-5712. This is Ralph Mangum for 1290 WHKY.
We should kick off the day with mainly sunny skies around the area. It looks like as we head into the midday and afternoon hours, we'll range between mostly sunny and partly cloudy. We'll have kind of a gusty northwest wind to keep us cool as highs reach about 48 to 53. Tonight will be mostly clear and cold. Winds will taper off some as lows fall into the upper 20s to around 30. And it looks like high pressure west of us will leave us with sunny skies on Thursday, breezy and a degree or two cooler, highs 46 to 51. I'm Mike Moss in the Weather Center.
On the Pima County Board of Supervisors will vote later this month on a measure to ban smokers from being hired by their local government. Those smokers who already work for the government will face a 30% health insurance surcharge. Pima County Administrator Chuck Huckleberry says that the county will save lots of money if employees who smoke can be replaced over time with healthier workers. Huckleberry says this is all being done for the taxpayers. Anything we can do to reduce insurance costs is beneficial, said old Huck. Now, you Pima County government workers who smoke had better beware. There's a target on your back. The dedication, loyalty, commitment you bring to your job, the quality of your work, doesn't matter. The Pima County Administrator has let it be known he wants you gone because you happen to use a legal product in your personal life and are supporting children's health care programs with your taxes. Liberals can make pot smoking legal in some cities, even though federal law prohibits it. But that's okay. But if you use tobacco, it's okay for liberals to discriminate against you in hiring and target your jobs for elimination. In New York, cigarettes cost up to $13 a pack, thanks to liberal-imposed taxes. The poor can't afford packs, so they buy loose cigarettes called loosies. Police were trying to arrest Eric Garner for tax avoidance by selling loosies, which led to his death. Our freedom is what's being targeted here, and country is being torn apart by liberalism.
Warning. The CIA's Financial Threat and Asymmetric Warfare Advisor has just gone public with frightening evidence concerning a $100 trillion economic extinction-level event that could soon strike America. He's revealed that our military and intelligence community are now ready to implement an operation they call the Day After Plan. It includes preparing the Pentagon's Raven Rock Mountain complex near Camp David, as well as Mount Weather's maze of underground bunkers codenamed Area B for the arrival of members of Congress and the White House. It's critical you view everything this CIA insider has uncovered before it's too late, because when this unstoppable collapse begins, it will unleash a 70% stock market meltdown. And shortly after, any money you have in your bank could be eradicated without warning. To get the real story, go to OperationDayAfter.com. That's OperationDayAfter.com. OperationDayAfter.com.
Charter Spectrum, a bigger, faster, more powerful connection. TV, internet, and voice, only $29.99 each per month when bundled. Call them today, 855-75-SWITCH, or visit charterspectrum.com. Just think about this as the holiday season approaches. How much time do you spend online? How much time are you spending shopping online? Worst thing in the world to happen is you get that cart all filled up, you're going to the checkout, and boom, it all goes away. You got to put all that information back in. You don't want that to happen. You want reliable internet. That's why you want Charter Spectrum. How about the TV holiday specials? Or just coming home after a hard day shopping, wanting to put your feet up and watch a movie maybe. Charter Spectrum TV. Over 200 HD channels available. That's more than satellite. And also a Charter Spectrum voice. How important is that home phone, that landline? Get unlimited local and long distance calling anywhere in the U.S., Canada, Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Virgin Islands in case you have family there. Talk more with clear reception and no dropped calls. It's Charter Spectrum. A bigger, faster, more powerful connection. Call them today or visit charterspectrum.com. Good morning. Welcome back to First Talk with Hal Rowe on 1290 WHKY Talk Radio for the Greater Hickory Metro. Talking with members of the Tractor Shed Theater Troupe, an auditioned group. Ashley Barnett joins us this morning, as well as Olivia Wilson and Ashton Burgess, who we were talking with before the break. Molly Rice, director of the Tractor Shed Theater at St. Stephen's High School. Ashton Burgess, we were talking about the fact that this performance, interpretive art, a performance piece, is going to represent difficulty with the youngsters and those who are going through the trials that Guardian Ad Litem goes in and tries to help. You wanted to distance yourself somewhere because it was so upsetting and so difficult to think about what was going on with these youngsters. So you decided that your part of this is going to be photography. Tell me a little bit about what you're going to be presenting and how that's going to be presented in this particular piece.
Well, we were supposed to try to find one story that we really could connect to, and we thought we could be a voice for that child and try to
Partner.
Yeah.
Come with a partner.
And me and my partner with this, Irvin, we didn't want to just focus on one. Because it was going to be difficult to do that with photography, but also because we wanted to show kind of all of kind of what's happening.
So how did you do that? How did you begin to do that?
When we read through the stories, me and him both got ideas for what some pictures could be, and we just kind of jotted down. I did quick drawings of what I saw, and then jotted down notes. Right. And then from there, we kind of we met, and we just were like, which one do we like? And from there, just grew.
What subjects will we see? Are we going to see children? Are we going to see rooms? Are we going to see Are we going to see your ideas, your interpretation of the way this impacted you?
Yeah, we use people in the tractor. We tried to use people in the tractor shed. Okay. Because it was more convenient to grab people
and to represent what you're trying to express with the talents and the abilities of the folks who were there. So you were able to go to some of the other folks and say, here's what I need. I need somebody who is in this situation or that situation, or someone portraying this. This is what I need. I need someone who's sad or grateful or whatever, and you're able to go and use the talents and abilities of these folks. So we'll be able to see that in the photography. It sounds very interesting. It really does, and I think it's an interesting choice for photography in this. Let's talk with Ms. Rice for just a moment or two more, because I kind of want everybody to understand the big picture on this and what this really allowing the students to not just participate but to create this piece. Tell me about that.
Absolutely.
How much direction do you put into it, and how much do you say, go wild?
Okay. Michelle Shield and Michelle Shepard came into our class and discussed what Guardian Ad Litem was to my students. The kids took notes and asked a lot of questions, and then they both, Michelle and Michelle, gave us cases, and there were 12 kind of cases and situations of 12 children of Catawba County and their stories. We shared as a group. We sat in a circle. We shared each of those stories aloud and then discussed. And there were personal moments in the class where other students in that class says, I know what this is like. I went through this myself. DSS came to my house.
Oh, wow.
And so I do have a student who is writing her testimony kind of about her situation as well. And
was that surprising to you?
No, not at all.
Really?
Not at all, no. We worked with working with charities is what we do in the fall, and we worked with the homeless last year with Grace House.
I've seen some of the other ones that you've used or worked with, the elderly or the senior members of our community.
That was beautiful, and we try to torch bear their life stories. And so I've worked with domestic violence and child abuse. That was the very first one we did, and that was during Zara Baker's murder, and so it got a lot of attention from like Charlotte Observer and such. But I feel like teenagers have their finger on the pulse. If you want to know what's going on in the world, grab the wrist of a teenager, check their pulse. They've got it going on, and my students are enlightened and compassionate, and they want to be advocates and activists and stand up, and they want to do social theater. And I think that this is the place in public schools to talk about and have discussion and create art from things that we find that are, people on the margin. And so working with the homeless, we met the homeless neighbors of Hickory and gathered their life stories and became representative of their voice. And so for GAL, it was very difficult to sit down and hear those stories. And I'm an empowered woman. I've been abused myself, and I share that with my students because that is part of my life story, and it's made me who I am. It's made me the woman that I am. And so as sharing those stories, then they decided which story really spoke to them. So they took a child's story, then they started create art. And again, it was me going, you guys can choose whatever creative art you'd like to do. And so we have monologues, we have spoken word, we have poetry, music, dance, photography, and you will walk through the show. You're not going to sit and be in a proscenium style theater where you listen to performers and watch, a staged production. You as the audience is kind of like bread and puppet theater. You're actually going to go to the places. So the students are like exhibits themselves in the art museum in different levels of the art museum. And Lisa Swenson's very kind to help us through this production, and she's donated, and helped, and we've had loads of people donate, wine and food, and helped out a lot. So it'll be a catered event, and we really want people to come out to learn more about Guardian Ad Litem and raise awareness.
How very interesting. This is so much more than I realized at first. Olivia Wilson, let's talk with you. What year are you at St. Stephen's?
Hi, I'm a senior.
A senior at St. Stephen's?
Yes.
Is this something you've been doing for a few years, this type of theater? Because I really agree with Ms. Rice as far as if you want to find out what's going on, talk to a teenager or talk to somebody who's kind of plugged in, because you've still got an open mind, still fresh. You haven't been, impacted by a lot of other folks who are telling you you need to believe this, you need to believe that. Yeah. Or if you do, you don't trust it or you doubt it. And you kind of want to explore and find these things out. How long have you been involved with the theater now?
4 years. I wasn't in play production my freshman year. You don't usually find freshmen in play production. But yeah, I am a graduating actor. So I worked with the homeless, and then I worked with the elderly first, and then the homeless, and now this year, this is my third charity show performance.
Well, this is a difficult question, but, and I know it's going to be difficult to answer. How has this impacted you, being able to perform this, to be able to embrace this, to be able to find out about these things? Because this is not something, this is not something that normally you think about going to school and learning these type of things, but it's so interesting and so vital. We'll talk more about that, if that's okay, when we return. Olivia Wilson, we're speaking with her this morning. We're also going to talk with Ashley Barnett. Ashton Burgess joins us, and Molly Rice. We're talking about a Tractor Shed Theater. And wow, I've got some really great surprises this morning. This is great. But more First Talk after the break.
You better head over to White Tire and get you some good tires. It's going to be a bad winter.
What makes you say that?
Well, for one thing, the woolly worms are awfully dark this year.
Come on now. You don't really believe those old-timey legends and signs, do you?
Let me tell you something, young fella. I saw squirrels gather nuts early this year, and when you see woodpeckers sharing trees, you can count on the fact that it's going to be a hard winter.
Really?
No matter where you get your forecast, make sure to get your tires at your local Cooper tire dealer, White Tire, with locations on Highway I-70, Springs Road, Bethlehem, or Newton, White Tire carries Cooper tires and has been a Cooper Tire dealer for over 30 years. Plus, White Tire will get you in and out quickly, and you'll get the satisfaction of knowing your family will be riding on quality Cooper tires. At White Tire, no one is working on commission, so there's no upselling or pressure. You'll find knowledgeable employees and help from your friends and neighbors at your locally owned and operated White Tire. See them today for quality Cooper tires. They make tires for people, not just cars. Cooper Tires.
Did you notice how thick them corn husks were this year?
Your morning cup of Sean. This is the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
Releasing this report is an important step to restore our values and show the world that we are, in fact, a just and lawful society.
All right, so Democrats are putting American lives now in danger. Why? They're insisting on the release of this report on CIA interrogation techniques used in the aftermath of 9/11. Senator Dianne Feinstein, chair of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, has insisted on the release of the report before Republicans assume leadership in January. It's her way of saying goodbye. Now, the report includes damning evidence of threats and techniques used against detainees in the wake of the worst attack on American soil. So what's worse in your mind? Is it enhanced interrogation, or is it drone strikes that killed civilians by Obama?
The conservative underground meets later today on the Sean Hannity Show.
Hey, I've been telling you about a new game that my family, we've been playing for a couple of years. It's called the Wits and Wagers Party Game. Now, my wife and I and our kids, we love it. We discovered this game. It's like no other game you have ever played. All right, here's the great thing. You start playing. Everyone sort of begins to gather around the table. They turn off the Xbox. And guess what? You're creating family memories because the room is filled with cheering and laughter and fun. And the best part is everybody in the family, all ages, has a chance to win. My kids love that part. And now I'm seeing it all over the place these days. It's become a huge hit. It's called the Wits and Wagers Party Game. So if you have kids or know anybody with kids, or maybe you just enjoy spending time with friends, well, give them this game for Christmas. It's called the Wits and Wagers Party Game. Lock in that name, Wits and Wagers. It's the most clever game you will ever play. Fast-paced, fun. Just go get it. It's at Target, Toys R Us, Barnes & Noble. The Wits and Wagers Party Game, so popular, guess what? You can find it anywhere. Wits and Wagers. Wits and Wagers.
Run a business? If you're still using outdated internet from the phone company, that's not running, that's crawling. Meanwhile, your business could be flying if it only had Charter Business Internet with speeds over 15 times faster than DSL. Why not put your internet to the test? Go to charterbusiness.com/speedtest for an objective side-by-side comparison. Once you get over the initial shock, you'll discover a dramatically better solution. Charter Business Internet, delivering speeds up to 100 megabits per second. Imagine all of your employees uploading, downloading, working at the speed of fiber. Frustration goes down, productivity way, way up. And it all started with a simple speed test. Compare your speed at charterbusiness.com/speedtest today. Then call 855-688-6100 and get faster internet from just $55 a month when bundled. Speed comparison versus 6 meg DSL internet. Speeds may vary. Restrictions apply. Visit charterbusiness.com/speedtest for details.
Wake up in the mornings with Hal Rowe on First Talk at 1290 WHKY.
Good morning. Welcome back to First Talk with Hal Rowe on 1290 WHKY Talk Radio for the Greater Hickory Metro. Before the group came in this morning, I knew that this was important, and I knew that it was a fundraiser. But getting to sit here and talk with these young folks, it's great to see how very important it is, and how important this is to the individuals who are here in the studio, and what it means to their lives. This is something. I'm so glad that this happened, because this is not something to be overlooked in our community. This is something that I think that people need to get plugged in with and understand, and maybe talk to these youngsters about, these young people, young adults about, and maybe it'll open a conversation in your family with your teen or somebody in your family.
That's the most important part.
Who's had a difficult time talking with mom or dad about this. So mom or dad, this may very well open a conversation in your family.
That's what the arts do, is it gives you that, it opens the door to have conversation and discussion, and it wakes you up to issues that you had never even thought about before.
Now, you've been doing this for 4 years.
Yeah.
This has obviously made a difference in who you are as a person.
Absolutely. Every year, no matter what we do, I learned something that's really important to me. The first year when it was working with elderly people, and then we also, the big word when I was a sophomore was torchbearing. As Ms. Rice said, we torchbear the life stories of the elderly that we worked with.
Right.
And this show personally is very different. As an actor, it's a different process, because before, I held my elderly participant, I held her hand, I listened to her story, I looked into her eyes.
Had you ever done that before?
No, and that's something as a person that, what a valuable experience to be able to look into somebody's eyes and listen to them and have a real connection. And it was the same with the homeless. You have your ideas about the homeless, you have what you think about them, and then you actually hold their hand literally and look into their eyes and hear their story and hear where they came from and that they are a human being.
Something you've never done before.
No, not really.
And something probably that you're probably not expecting in a regular normal school experience.
Absolutely not.
But
that's Molly Rice for you, though. That is Molly Rice for you.
But this has brought this
invaluable, so invaluable to you as a human being.
Well, tell me about this piece and what you're going to be doing, how you're going to be representing what you felt in this particular case.
Well, like I said, it was a different process to not legally, of course. We weren't able to meet the children whose cases we were reading or even know their names. So as an actor, we had to take the 12 stories. We were given 12 cases, and then we read through them in class and had an open discussion about it. And several of my classmates and my really good friends gave their own personal testimony. And
you go around and you read this and you're interacting with other people who says, Ms. Rice was saying, this happened to me, or I can relate to that.
Absolutely. Right. So then, as an actor, I had to then go inside myself and say, what would I feel? How would I experience this if I was in this situation?
Right.
And like Ashton said, that is so hard to come close to put yourself in their shoes. But as an actor, that's what you have to do. You have to be able to put yourself in somebody's shoes and understand what their life might be like to create a character or create art. So that's where I went with this. And personally, I have, I feel like that's made me stronger to be able to write this piece, because I have testified in court for a friend who is dealing with sexual abuse. So I've listened. I didn't have the experience to get to meet and talk to these children, but I have talked to abused children, and my really good friend. So that's especially where I took it with this. And then reading through the stories, I connected to the ninth story that we were given. It was about a young girl whose mother was involved with a lot of men and very neglectful. And what stuck to me, really, I chose that story because in it, it described how the girl, all she wanted was for her mom to choose her, for once in her life to choose her.
Choose her over the man. Choose her over anything.
Yeah,
choose
her as her child.
Right.
So then I went on to write a spoken word piece about kind of an absent relationship with a mother, and then I incorporate the song Mama Said by the Shirelles.
Right.
So it kind of starts off with, Mama said there'll be days like this, and then the spoken word goes into, but Mama, you never said that you wouldn't be there. You never told me how to be a young woman. And personally in the actual gallery, how I'm going to perform that, it's called Theater in the Round. So I'll be kind of like right in the middle of the gallery, and the audience will be surrounding me in a circle. And that's personally, I'm excited about that as an actor, because I've never done that kind of form of art before. So it'll be stretching for me as an actor.
You're doing new things. You're bringing something new that you have created from your personal experiences that you have seen with what's going on in the world. This is not something that somebody told you this is real stuff. This is something that's really, really happening in our community. You're able to relate to it, and you're able to express what you've been experiencing or what this experience has meant to you in a very positive, very healthy way, in a way that hopefully will be able to call attention.
Well, yeah, and the most important thing to me, I'm excited this year. I'm so excited for this performance because, every year we're the voice for somebody who doesn't have a voice, but especially this year, literally, legally, these children cannot have a voice. So I'm incredibly excited to be a voice for them.
You're very passionate about it this year.
Absolutely.
Ashley Barnett, this has obviously been, and I'll tell you what, it's what I tell all my guests or anybody who's in the studio, you talk as much or as little as you want to about this, but I can tell with you this morning here in the studio, just with your body language and the way that you're feeling, this has really impacted you, has it not?
Yes, it has.
And do you want to tell me in any way? Was it the stories? Did it start there? That as you were hearing these stories and you were going around, was it the interaction with the other students that was so impactful to you? What was it? Because it's obviously so important to you.
Well, hearing the stories, it really, it pulls on your heartstrings.
Right.
So.
Just so difficult to hear those things and to know. And here's the thing, if I'm in that situation, I'm in a situation where I don't know everything that's going on in the community, and all of a sudden I hear these stories or I find out what's going on, and I don't know that that's happening in the community, and then I find out, wow, this is going on. This happens right here in my own backyard. This happens in the state of North Carolina, where I'm looking across and I'm talking to somebody who's here, and I found out that that's going on with them. Yeah. It's so difficult. So God bless your heart for being here this morning, and for the difficulty that obviously I could see that you're going through with this.
Ashley is incredibly creative. She's one of the most creative young people I've ever had the honor to meet. And the thing with Ashley is she can create in so many different ways that sometimes she'll say, oh my gosh, where do I go? Because she can do almost any creative art. She's got the most amazing, beautiful singing voice. She'll be singing a solo that evening. She also is an artist, a visual artist. She does photography. She does sculpting, photography. She does, the child does every part. Craft, she crochets. She is a walking creative arts master. And so I think when I say to Ashley, create whatever you want, love, just take, let it reach you. She has to actually go through all the arts to figure out which art to choose. Right. So Ashley's going to do something very unique that night, and we don't really want to kind of give it away yet. Right. But it will represent young women who are abused more in, their bodies.
I got to ask you. I'm going to ask you this. I don't have to ask, but I'm going to ask you this. How do parents feel about this? Because this is something that's sometimes very difficult. And parents, because parents are not used to this. So like, hey, wait a minute. I thought we were going to be learning lines and doing the Christmas show. The next thing you know, we got this going on.
Theater,
where's the Christmas Carol?
Yeah, theater does three things, in my opinion. It can educate, it can entertain, and it can enlighten. Right. I do less of the entertaining as much in this community, and I'm known for that. Parents, I have great support from my parents. They understand what I'm doing.
Olivia wanted to say.
They come out and they support their students. Sometimes they're like, what is going on?
Right.
I'm not quite sure what y'all are doing, but parent support is great for me and my students. And we have an open door.
Yeah, as a senior, I can personally say I think my parents are okay with it because they see just how much it benefits you as a student and as a human being, and just how much I've grown within 3 years from experiences like this.
How about you, Mr. Burgess? Tell me a little bit about your family situation. And how long have you been involved in the theater? How long have you been doing this?
This is my first year in play production.
First year in play production. Let's get that.
But I've known people
in there.
who have been in it basically every year.
When we come back, I want to talk a little bit more. More First Talk after the break.
Want a fast, surefire way to save some money? It's simple. Switch to the Charter Spectrum Triple Play and you'll be enjoying Charter Spectrum TV with over 200 HD channels available. That's more than satellite. Plus, enjoy thousands of free on-demand choices so you can find a new series or catch up on your favorite shows anytime. Charter Spectrum Internet with lightning-fast speeds that start at 60 megabits per second, 20 times faster than DSL. That's enough bandwidth to power all your devices. And Charter Spectrum Voice with unlimited nationwide calling, free voicemail, and no extra taxes or fees like the phone company charges. Best of all, there's no contract to sign and nothing locking you in. So start saving with the Charter Spectrum Triple Play. TV, internet, and voice for just $29.99 each per month for 12 months when bundled. Just call 855-97-SWITCH. That's 855-97-SWITCH. Restrictions apply. Visit charterspectrum.com for details.
Talk radio for the Greater Hickory Metro. 1290 WHKY Hickory. Good morning. I'm Ralph Mangum for 1290 WHKY. At 4:27 yesterday morning, Hickory firefighters responded to a fire at 940 27th Street Northeast, Unit 110. On arrival, firefighters reported smoke coming from the residence. The occupants were safely outside the structure. The occupants said a working smoke alarm alerted them to the incident. Responding with 2 engines, 1 ladder, 1 rescue unit, and 1 command unit, firefighters worked to contain and extinguish the fire, which was reported under control at 4:40 a.m. No injuries were reported, but damages were considered heavy. Catawba County EMS and Hickory Police also responded to the incident. Investigators say the fire was caused by an unattended smoldering cigarette. 30-year-old Valerie Rose Wertheim of Mooresville has been arrested by Iredell County Sheriff's officers and charged with child abuse, resisting officers, and injury to real property. On December 7th, deputies responded to reports of children being assaulted by their mother on Carolina Wren Drive in Mooresville. The owner of the residence said a female who was renting a room from her had assaulted a 13-year-old child and an 8-year-old child. Deputies learned that the 13-year-old female had been thrown on the bed and struck on her head by her mother, Valerie Rose Wertheim. When the 8-year-old son tried to stop the mother, he was also struck on the side of his head. Deputies noticed signs of assault on both children. They spoke to Wertheim, who admitted to assaulting her children. As deputies placed Wertheim under arrest, she resisted and kicked a hole in the sheetrock wall. Wertheim was transported to the Iredell County Detention Center with bond set at $4,000 secured. She will appear in district court on January 5th. On the Level Home Services is hosting and sponsoring a Christmas event for needy children in Catawba County. The event will be held on December 20th at 902B Conover Boulevard from noon until 3 p.m. Donations will be accepted through December 18th. On the Level Home Services is a family-owned and operated company that specializes in mold removal, waterproofing, structural repair, and general home repairs. For more information, call 828-750-5712. This is Ralph Mangum for 1290 WHKY.
Mainstage Morganton presents B.J. Thomas Home for Christmas in concert Thursday, December 11th at 7:30 p.m. Join B.J. and his featured guest, the Young Crescendos from Burke County Schools, directed by Margaret Smith. Bring the family and get in the spirit of Christmas. B.J. Thomas Home for Christmas on stage at Thursday, December 11th at 7:30 p.m. For tickets, call 828-433-SHOW, go to comonline.org or WHKY.com.
Century Services is your local Train dealer, offering the super efficient Train XL16i and the Train XR15 systems to help keep your energy costs low. Everyone knows it's hard to stop a train, but if you ever have problems with your system, you can keep your family comfortable with the Century Services Century Customer Care Program. You'll receive 2 visits each year to make sure your system is running at peak efficiency, and you'll receive priority care if you need it. Let Century Services and Train help keep your family comfortable and your energy costs low. Call Century Services today, 466-2112.
We should see a lot of sunshine around the area overall today as we get into the midday and afternoon hours. There may be a few places that turn partly cloudy at times. It'll be rather cool in the afternoon with a gusty northwest wind. We'll look for highs today around 48 to 53. Tonight we'll have clear skies for the most part. Winds will diminish some, and it'll be cold. Lows in the upper 20s to around 30. We should see just about nothing but sunshine and blue skies on Thursday. Breezy and a little cooler, highs 46 to 51. I'm meteorologist Mike Moss in the Weather Center.
WHKY Talk Radio. Jason Savage Sports.
Lenore Ryan's Jasmine Charles has been named the South Atlantic Conference Women's Basketball Player of the Week. The senior All-American guard averaged 24.5 points and 10 rebounds in leading the Bears to a pair of home wins over North Georgia and Brevard last week. Charles also hit 5 three-pointers and connected on 10 of 11 free throw attempts for the week. Charles ranks 11th on the Bears' all-time scoring list with 1,229 points. She has earned League Player of the Week accolades for the 4th time in her collegiate career as well. Appalachian State women's golf head coach Heather Brown has announced the signing of Juliana Elias and Patricia Thompson to her 2015-2016 roster. Elias comes to App from Penn Griffin's School for the Arts in High Point. Thompson attended South Caldwell, where she was named to the All-Conference team all 4 years. Thompson was also named Conference and Caldwell County Player of the Year in 2013. As a junior and senior, Thompson earned Most Valuable Player of her high school team, and during her senior campaign at South, Thompson recorded a scoring average over 9 holes of 38. And speaking of South Caldwell, Sports Illustrated recognized Madison Bumgarner as the 2014 Sportsman of the Year. He will be featured on the cover of the December 15th issue of Sports Illustrated. You can find lots more at our website, WHKY.com.
WHKY Talk Radio.
Good morning. Welcome back to First Talk with Hal Rowe on 1290 WHKY Talk Radio for the Greater Hickory Metro. Comma presenting B.J. Thomas Home for Christmas. Main Stage Morganton presents B.J. Thomas's Home for Christmas concert. It's happening Thursday, December 11th. Well, by golly, that's this week. That's this Thursday night. That's tomorrow night. If you don't have anything planned for tomorrow night and you'd love to see one of the great vocalists of all times, B.J. Thomas, it starts at 7:30. He's got some guests coming with him, so it's going to be great. It's also going to involve the Burke County school system as well. Directed by Margaret Smith. Get the family in the spirit for Christmas. B.J. Thomas, Home for Christmas. It happens at Comma. If you want tickets, buy them at 828-433-SHOW or go to commaonline.org and get your tickets there. Now, if you'd like to go to the show compliments of WHKY, just be caller number 2 right now. Call now, 327-WHKY, 327-9459, and Susie will set you up with a pair of tickets. And you're going to be on the guest list. You don't need to stop by here and pick up your tickets. You can run right up there, go to the will call window and say, I believe you have some tickets for me. It's always fun being at will call, isn't it? Always fun strolling up there and having the tickets waiting for you. Caller number 2. Main Stage Morganton presenting B.J. Thomas Home for Christmas, Thursday, December 11th, 327-WHKY, 327-9459. If you want to buy the tickets, call 828-433-SHOW. Go online, get them at commaonline.org. Simple enough. We're talking this morning with members of Tractor Shed Theater about their performance piece, their art piece that's coming up at the Hickory Museum of Art. It's going to be Thursday night, the 18th. It's a performance piece. We'll have photography. We'll have spoken word. We'll have singing. We'll have and surprises, all kinds of different things that will be happening as we continue to work this out and develop this. Even at this time, we're going to have, like I said, photography and different things that will be performed by different individuals. But before we went to the break, we were talking a little bit about the time that people spend in the theater. Now, Ashton, you were not with the theater. You said this is your first year actually doing it, yes. But you knew that people were in it.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that and why you decided to take the big step and move ahead.
Every first and third Thursday of the month, we have Coffee House. And it's basically a talent show kind of thing, but without the competitive aspect. We just kind of go in and
right.
Just hang out and share.
Right.
And so freshman year I started going to that and performing magic. And I continued that up till now, and I just was like, I've kind of become this kind of got with everyone. I was friends with them, and I thought we were family, so I was like, yeah, might as well just go ahead.
Might as well go ahead and do it.
I was at Hingham for a while and then came back to St. Stephen's. So this is his first year in the theater with us. We're delighted to have them.
And how has this impacted you? Being with this group and these stories. I mean, obviously you need to keep some distance from it, and obviously you've got a different way of expressing this. Did you know this was going on in Catawba County? Had you heard of this? And you hear these cases and you hear these stories because it impacted you very, very strongly as well.
I've had friends who have had bad situations like some of the stories.
Right.
And I didn't know the statistics were as high as they were.
And we usually don't do statistics, but Molly Rice, you've got some statistics for us this morning that are just
Numbers
incredible.
and me, Hal. Numbers and me, not friends. About 480 children in this area are abused and neglected in a foster situation.
Care.
Yeah,
right.
and I've had lots of students in the past, living in group homes or couch surfing, and then kind of like. For me, it was an easy transition from the homeless to then abused and neglected folks in the margins, really.
Right.
But in North Carolina, if you check the statistics for 2013-14, 59,972 cases of abuse.
That's the cases. These are the ones that are brought forward, right?
Yes. 59,000. That is, can't even get my head around that. And of those cases, only 16,281 children are represented. So we are in a shortage for Guardian Ad Litems because Guardian Ad Litem is for the child and DSS is for the family. So we need more Guardian Ad Litems, and this is the steady thing in these children's life is this gal, this advocate, this person, and they stay with them through this whole process, and sometimes that's their only friend. And we're talking about children 5 standing in court alone.
And from what I understand, I mean, oftentimes there are youngsters who cannot even represent themselves in any way because they're infants or do not have the talent or the ability of the spoken word yet. So what Tractor Shed Theater has done, and from what I'm getting from the folks in here this morning, you're taking a group that needs more publicity.
Yes.
That needs more exposure.
My first goal always in our work
bring to
in the
light.
fall is awareness.
To bring to light.
And then money if we can.
For this group, for Guardian Ad Litem.
Yes.
But doing this and being able to bring this, you're able to bring, obviously, a lot of emotion, a lot of information, and a lot of exposure and awareness to the student body.
Yes.
They're able to express what they've taken in to the community. So this really is a wonderful program.
We're
and a
trying to
wonderful
make
thing to
the
do.
event, Hal, more like a shindig because we realize, it's not a St. Stephen's play per se, because the teenagers are not going to be able to be Guardian Ad Litems. We're looking for adults in this community to come to the evening. And share the evening with us and learn more about it.
We'll give you more ticket information right after our national anthem. Tickets are available at the door at the Hickory Museum of Art. $10, only $10, December 18th. What time does it start, Molly Rice?
6:30 for heavy hors d'oeuvres.
6:30, heavy hors d'oeuvres.
Drinks.
Molly Rice, thank you for joining us. Ashton Burgess, appreciate it. Olivia Wilson and Ashley Barnett, thank you all for joining us this morning. More
Thank you
First
for
Talk
having us.
tomorrow.
First Talk with Hal Rowe, WHKY Talk Radio.
November 15th marks the start of the annual open enrollment for all under age 65 individual health insurance plans.